Rep the South Side whenever you pay with your White Sox debit card from Wintrust Community Banks and score perks like free ATMs, no monthly fees, and a $300 opening bonus. Pay with pride every time with Wintrust, Chicago's bank.
Hey everybody, it's 𝗪𝗏 and welcome to the White Sox Podcast. It is brought to you, as always, by Wintrust, Chicago's bank. Show your team pride with the White Sox debit card. Get yours at wintrust.com/Sox. Member FDIC, EHL lender. All right, the All-Star break is next week. Yeah, the White Sox record isn't great, but one thing that I have noticed, and it's hard not to notice, the Sox are in like almost every game. Almost every game. And they have been so much more competitive this season compared to last season. And the main reason is the pitching staff. And if you look at the payroll of this pitching staff, okay, you look at the track record of many of the pitchers on this team, there isn't much. So how are they doing this, pitching so well? Well, we're getting the inside scoop from pitching coach Ethan Katz. We talk about Adrien Houser, Shane Smith, Grant Taylor, and a whole lot more. It's a conversation with Ethan Katz. Let's do it. All right, here with Ethan Katz. Ethan, I was looking at your pitching staff this year versus last year. Do you know how different? I'm sure you know how different your pitching staff is from one year to the next. And I looked at the ERAs. You guys have a lower ERA than the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Twins, the Diamondbacks. How are you doing this with all these changes from one year to the next?
Day by day, just trying to maximize our guys as much as we can. Try to put our relievers in the best lanes possible, so the matchups are, strong. It's not always the case, but trying to match up as well for them to put them in the best spot to succeed. And yeah, the young starters have really stepped up, and then guys that have come in have done really well too. So I mean, we're just day by day just trying to get guys to understand their strengths and understand how to get back into counts so we can maximize leverage there.
Yeah, I was also looking at the innings for your rotation. So Sean Burke's thrown 92 innings. Last year he threw 71. Shane Smith's at 83. Last year was 94. Davis Martin, 80. He's on the injured list now, but he was coming off Tommy John surgery, threw 50 last year. So how are you managing these innings, this workload, and you still have a second half to play?
I think a lot of it has to do with our communication. We're looking at the biomechanics every game, kind of see if guys are off, because those are going to be some red flags that we need to listen to. Also, like I said, the communication every day we're asking how they feel. So sometimes we won't use a reliever based on maybe workload wise he could, but if he's telling us no, we're listening. And I think that communication with the players and their feedback is really important for us to make the right decisions to help them along. It's not always peaches and cream, and some guys are going to have to be pushed because it is the big leagues, but we're trying to listen to them and be smart about it. And guys, some of our starters really understanding what they've done going into an outing. Have they had some stressful innings, and do we need to step back a little bit this game and let the bullpen do a little bit more? Or there's times that we can't push them. So the communication and just kind of looking at all the data, the biomechanics, and being really mindful of that is really important.
Well, Shane Smith, where is he right now? He doesn't seem to be as sharp. The results certainly aren't there, but you also see him have great at-bats against guys, or great sequences and great innings, and then all of a sudden something happens. So where is he right now? What does he need to do to get back on track?
Yeah, I mean, I he's had, I think, if you look at the line, the last 3 outings, you'd probably say it's not good, but I really liked his Cardinals game. They were able to maximize a couple runs via infield hits, little bloop shots, a couple double play balls that they were able to beat out. There was things in that outing that I really liked. Arizona was not a good game. And then in Colorado, he had a solid 4 innings. It was fine for the environment we were in and kind of stuff like that. The last inning, Fernandez made a really good pitch on a changeup. He got a base hit. Then Ritter just poked the ball to right field. Nice job by him. And then the Moniak back wasn't a very good pitch. So there's nothing to me that's really oh my God, he's lost all his stuff. His pitches are, velo's there. His mechanics are holding. He feels strong. It's just been, a couple games that haven't gone his way. And then the guys are going to go through that through the course of the season. But there's nothing there that's like, oh my God, he's way off, and we need to really pay attention to this.
To see where Shane Smith has gone from where he was, if you want to say a year ago, or certainly at the start of spring training, to where he is now, and now going to the All-Star game, what does that say about him as a pitcher and what he's been able to do?
I mean, it's amazing. It's an unbelievable story. I mean, he's the first Rule 5 guy as a pitcher to make it. He's the first rookie White Sox pitcher to make it. I mean, there's a lot of things, and it's very well deserving. Like, he's had an unbelievable run, and to think where he was last year, it's quite an accomplishment. To think about, and you saw like kind of his reaction when he found out. Like, he was pretty emotional about that, and I think it's just this, there's been a lot that's gone his way, like, this year, but like it hasn't been that way. Like, he's not drafted to being Rule 5 and not kind of knowing where, fighting to be on the team, and now you're an all-star. So it's quite an accomplishment. It's kudos to him for all the work he's put in.
Another Rule 5 pick is Mike Vasil. I've been calling him a Swiss Army knife. He's kind of like the security blanket of your pitching staff, your bullpen, and I don't know what it is about him, but you put runners on. You do not want to put runners on base against Mike Vasil. Does that make any sense?
Well, he has a plus sinker that we like. That we know we'll get guys on the ground, so we're always in a good spot to get a double play with him on the mound. So yeah.
What is it about him and what he's been able to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of this stuff when we acquired him, when you were looking at the things of like what can we do, and one thing he's been really able to do is kind of really maximize his sinker and his sweeper. But like the sinker's taken a big step forward, and it was something that he didn't really use much at all to lefties. We've encouraged it, which is not a lot. You won't hear that too much to opposite side-handed.
And why do you do that? Why are you encouraging?
It's just the hitters are telling us they're not taking good passes on it. Like the Diamondbacks were pounding it into the ground. I mean, it's a really unique pitch, and he's able to really command it really well. And everything else, he's got a really good curveball going on with the sweeper and a really good changeup. So it's kind of, he has a really unique arsenal that we feel really good about, no matter who's at the plate, lefties or righties.
This portion of the podcast brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places, and let's go to what Adrien Houser has been doing on the mound. As we speak, a 1.60 ERA in 8 starts. It's been a magical breakthrough for him. Why has he had such a breakthrough with you guys?
I mean, his stuff is a tick up right now, right? From the velo, his secondary stuff have a lot more bite to it. He looks really good, and he's pounding the strike zone. He's getting a lot of weak contact, quick outs, and with the stuff being up there, that's why those quick outs are happening. So he's in a really good spot with his stuff. Obviously he's having a little breakout moment right now. We hopefully can keep that going.
What has he meant to this pitching staff to have a guy that you've been able to lean on over the course of 2 months?
It's huge. I mean, because you're talking about a lot of young starters and a lot of guys with not a lot of big league time or coming back from injury, and they're going to have their hiccups. But being able to insert somebody, it kind of reminds me when we had 𝗁𝗄𝗧, that can just go out there and you know what you're going to get, and he's going to get you deep in the game. He's going to be able to reset the bullpen when need be. It's a huge asset because it takes a lot off their plate, and for young guys, they already have enough on their plate, but it really can help them out a lot.
It's been a lot of fun watching Grant Taylor pitch. Do you have a story you can tell from your perspective, from your vantage point, about the pitcher he is, the competitor that he is?
Yeah, I mean, he really conducts himself in a very professional, veteran manner. We've seen some tough moments. We had the situation in Toronto where the leadoff guy gets on, no big deal, closes it out. Dodger Sam got a little bit tough for him, but then we started right back in there in a big moment in Colorado, and did great. So the way he's kind of conduct himself, I've had conversations with him about like how Liam went about his business, of when Liam had a bad day, like how to get past that, and what we learned from that. But honestly, I probably didn't even need to have that conversation. He just is like head forward, ready to go, and ready for the task at hand, whoever it is.
Getting the final 3 outs is a mentality, right?
No doubt.
What's his competitive mentality? What are you learning about that?
I mean, he just wants to go. He wants to go head to head with the best of the best. He's definitely not scared, and he definitely has a very slow pulse, and he's able to go out there and handle whoever it is, and he'll go right after him with whatever is thrown his way, whether guys are on base, and it's not going to face him.
Yeah, I've noticed he's got some things in his toolbox. I think it might have been his very first time he had any kind of trouble, if you want to call it that, and he just took a deep breath on the mound. And not many pitchers might even think to do that on a major league stage, and there he was as a rookie doing that. Did that show you something?
I mean, it definitely did. I also think about the environment where he came from, being at LSU, pitching there. I think that goes a long way for a lot of guys when they're coming from those types of environments, big crowds, rowdy. Like it really can help being at the big league level.
So I've noticed a situation where it was Taylor on the mound, either Teal or Caro catching. Up the middle, you had Montgomery at short, Meidroth at second, Brooks Baldwin in center. This is a young team. Is this the young? I mean, there are some veterans sprinkled in here, but is this the youngest team you've ever been with?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't recall too many catching duos that are rookies, and that's quite the task at hand. But you're talking about some big-time positions up the middle with young guys, and they've been doing great. Yeah,
but with the two catchers, two rookies, what kind of situation has that been for you guys at having a pitching staff working with guys who are up here for the first time?
It's a lot of work behind the scenes. Credit to Drew. He's been working with the catchers a ton behind the scenes, and obviously
that's big. Actually, a former major league catcher.
Yeah,
probably in that
it
position.
helps a ton.
Yeah.
And then obviously we have a lot of meetings with them separately to try to help them out. Then in the dugout every inning, trying to just like recapture stuff we've done, stuff we're seeing, to kind of help them better equip them with the pitchers to kind of get them on the right track. So it's a lot of work. It's not like with a veteran guy where you kind of like he knows he has experience and stuff like that. But they're learning at the highest level, which is good.
Yeah. One last thing: are you watching any of the pitchers in the minor leagues, or you have so much going on here you don't really want to focus on that?
I look at the reports. I'll read the reports, but not really. I mean, there's so much going on up here on a day-to-day basis, from the rookie catchers to a lot of new pitchers that have come in the building, and trying to get them acclimated and trying to stay on top of everything else.
I know you want more. I mean, you've had some pitching staffs that have been ranked a lot higher, but considering the what you have had to work with, and this is not anything against these pitchers, but there's a lot of young guys, a big learning curve. How do you feel you guys are doing as a pitching staff under these circumstances?
Great. I'm really happy with them. Like I feel like they're doing a really good job keeping us in every game. And they're competing, and we looked at them. We're trying to give them some feedback loops regularly, and kind of showing the progression they've been doing, and this last month how good it's been, and just trying to keep on teaching and encouraging, and trying to, whatever hiccups show up, try to stop those right away. And I'm really proud of what they've been able to do. It's a testament to the work they've been doing and going out there and competing and leaving it all out there for the team.
Yeah, it does feel like 90% of the time you guys are in every game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly by the fifth inning, it seems like this could go either way, and that's got to feel a lot better than what you had last year, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, it's just every night I feel like we have a chance to win by every guy that steps foot on the mound. You feel pretty good about it.
All right, Ethan, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, that's a wrap for this edition of the White Sox Podcast. 𝗵cie 𝗿𝗀𝗀, take it away.
All right, Art Chuck, this edition of the White Sox Podcast is over.